What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Take What Resonates. This is episode 3. Yes, episode 3. So if you guys haven't heard or seen episode 1 or 2, go check it out. Um, Today, we are switching up the style a little bit. I noticed some of you probably noticed or didn't that, yes, there's 2 people in this video, but only one doing most of the speaking. So we're going to do it a little discussion style rather than interview style. So therefore, 2 people have their perspective and point of view with what the topic is. And yeah, episode 1 was doing the inner work. Episode 2, you did the inner work. Now you are overcoming challenges while you're doing the inner work, which brings us to episode 3. The topic today is don't get tricked. Bracket. Don't get tricked. Working on discernment. All right, so yeah, let's get things started. This lovely gentleman here, I don't know if I introduced him. He was doing all the introduction in the first 2 episodes, but this is Edgardo and I'm Shireen with Take What Resonates.
Yes, in the previous videos, we talked about challenges. The other one, we talked about inner work. And today we're going to be talking about not falling into traps and not falling into delusions. Anything related to traps, anything related to what's not serving you, that's what we're talking about today. And we want to cover a lot of things today, so hopefully you're ready for today's episode. Shireen is going to get us started with the first topic.
All right. So with the first question, this is getting a little into some personal experience, but in this day and age, why is it so important to have discernment? That is the first question. And did you want to start?
Yeah, so I think everybody is not exempt to this reality, which is we are all products, or I guess byproducts of our environment. We are all influenced in a way by our environment, and now there's too much of everything out there.
Word.
And it's hard, even at a young age, to not get exposed by negative things, to not get exposed by vulgar things. Nowadays, it's difficult, man. You know, as kids, we both have experience with this, you know. We were exposed to the internet. You know, when we were kids, the internet was going strong, and now it's even worse. Now there's way more garbage out there. And discernment is so important because if you have no filter, then you're just going to be absorbing everything like a sponge.
Exactly.
So that's important for adults to have a filter, to have discernment. But for kids, that's not really an expectation, is it? That's impossible, actually, because kids, they need to learn how to have that. And starting out, at least until age 10, they're not going to have that discernment, man.
I agree. That's like, I feel like I have the same thing to say with in this day and age, the age of information, we are exposed to an abundance of information daily. I don't know if you guys can resonate with me being on TikTok. Every TikTok is like quick information, right? And every time you're scrolling, it's just a new type of information you're exposed to. And then there's Twitter, well, X, there's Instagram, there's social media. So the thing about that, social media, what is it? It's, you know, people sharing their opinions, their lives, and, you know, recommendations and judgment from how they view the world, from their perspective, from their values and beliefs. So having discernment, I would say, I can't stress it, to build your discernment more than enough, these days than back in the days. We need to work on it more than ever.
100%. Next question.
Next question. All right. Can you share a personal experience where you were tricked and felt led astray?
Oh, man. You're going to put me on blast now. So, a point in my life where I was tricked and led astray. I can mention many examples, many things. But the truth is, if you want to know the juiciest parts, you're going to have to listen to my music. But I will say one thing, and one thing is for sure, is that when you are exposed to these rom-coms, I'm sure a lot of people can relate that when you have this paradigm of how romance should be, and how meeting a person should be, how your life should be with that person, then it's not so much in the realm of realism, but more in the realm of fantasy. And then we get disappointed once that slaps us in the face. So I'm not talking about Shireen and I here. I'm really talking about like my past disappointments, learning lessons where I think it's something, but it's nothing like I'm thinking, man. So I spot the red flags. I spot the, I discern these things. But one thing is discernment and one thing is acceptance. So it's not all discernment. Sometimes you got to accept and take accountability for making that mistake and just, turn away.
Okay.
But that's on a different topic. I don't know if that's on topic so much. But
there'll be plenty of episodes to discuss different topics. But yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, can you share a moment where you were led astray by, I guess, a false narrative?
Man, I would say the reason why I even picked this topic for this episode was because, like, I like the order that I put it in. You're doing the inner work, you're on your spiritual journey, and you're overcoming challenges. Now you're looking for answers. You're looking for guidance, right? Because we're like lost souls at this moment. Like, who do I go to seek some wisdom and some clarity and some, whatever you go looking for when you look for a spiritual teacher. That brings me to my experience. When I was in that predicament, when I was looking for spiritual guidance and a teacher, online, it is easy to get led astray. It is easy to get tricked, because it's like you have to practice reading the energy through a screen. But getting vulnerable with you guys as usual. I would say it was following a spiritual teacher. Being new to everything, you kind of put them on a pedestal, right? You think they're perfect. You kind of see the God in them, and it's easy to just start believing everything they're saying. But I quickly learned that most times people are projecting from their ego, projecting from what experience they're currently growing through, projecting from their perspective. And I just found myself to a point where I was like going to sleep anxious. I was like freaking crying. I was scared. And I knew there was something up. I knew like, this is not right. I feel like you're not supposed to feel like this when you're a lost soul on a journey. You're supposed to.
That's the underlying feeling is like exactly what you said, like a lost soul, like uncertainty, confusion. And I remember like when I grew up heavy in the church and, Catholic school,
Christian Sunday school. I grew up heavy with church background, and I remember kind of feeling the same way. Like, it was good, you know, there was good times, of course, but I remember that same feeling, like confused and scared and anxious, and like I don't think I'm supposed to be feeling like this way in life. So I feel like, yeah, with that experience, it was getting led astray by a spiritual teacher, and quickly realizing that that person is a human, and humans, you know, are flawed. As like blunt as that sounds, it's facts. And that was a good reality check for me to remember that. And yeah, that was quite an experience for me.
Yeah, even if they're a leader, you know, leaders can also lead you astray, because it might not be exactly what you're looking for. Who knows? Like, they don't got all the answers, right?
Yeah, and that
all the answers.
Yeah. Sorry.
All the answers, and it's usually a place where no one is looking. It's inside.
And it's funny because that leads me to the next question, which is, what did we learn from that experience? And I pretty much shared it. I learned that humans don't look to humans for answers.
Yeah.
They don't have it all.
Yeah. There was a point in my life where I was reading a lot of books, self-development books, putting into practice wherever I could, my family and my public settings. And I learned that you can't take everything like it's the law. You know what I mean? You gotta experience things, but with the lessons that you took from them. Because the difference in school, in life, is that school, it teaches you the lesson before it tests you. Life tests you before it gives you the lesson. So unless you're a person that reads up on other people's lessons, other people's learning lessons, that was what these gurus, that was what these leaders were helping me with. But a trap that I fell into was knowing too much and not using it to help anyone. So that was another trap. It was an egotistical trap. And I learned...
Yeah. The ego.
I learned very quickly, because the truth is life humbles you.
Oh, yeah.
And karma comes. So you don't want to be in a position where you can help so many people, but you actually just use it for your own means.
That would be a next topic, the ego, because that's a big one. But I totally agree. And with the next question, basically kind of like the same. How has these experiences helped us develop our intuition skills, our discernment?
Yes. There's so many learning lessons in life, and I like to think that with these experiences, I learn and I learn and I learn, and then I run into someone that pushes me out of my comfort zone. And at first I'm accepting, and then I realize this is going too far. It's disrespectful. You know, my time is not being respected, and I'm not being respected by this person. And that's when I have another learning lesson, another wake up moment.
Yeah.
Like, you got to discern the energies around you. You got to discern what people are giving to you, because you're giving vulnerability. You're giving an open mind. You're giving your creative spirit out. I'm talking about like in the studio. I recently had this interaction with somebody that really taught me discernment in the form of relationships. You can't just let anybody in to change the energy around. That's even on topic.
No, it's,
you go.
I agree. Discernment is not just what you consume online on social media. It's not what people teach, like teachers teach you or anything. It's also discerning the people that you're letting into your life. So that was a great example. And for me, I felt like my experience helped me with my building my intuition skills, and discernment skills, because as Edgardo was saying, like you every time you learn a lesson, you got to take what you learn from that and implement it into your life. So what I learned from humans not being flawed, I learned to, it's like understanding when, if I'm listening to an astrologer or a tarot reader, it's kind of like discerning that when they're doing a Sagittarius or Capricorn reading, what like they could it's just like thinking and understanding that like possibly they could be growing through this experience that they are projecting into this reading. It's understanding, like, because with one of those spiritual teachers that I learned from is like, what I respect about her is she is transparent with her audience. She's healing in front of all of us, and she is a spiritual teacher. I consider her that, but she also keeps it all the way real and like lets us know when she's growing through things, and that helps me with my discernment, because sometimes I can tell when she is projecting her experience into readings. So that's how that helped me build like my discernment skills and my intuition skills.
Nice.
So the questions are switching in to you guys, the audience. How does one know when they're getting led astray?
How does one know when they're getting led astray?
Mm-hmm.
Well, can we bring up the Josh 22 or whatever his name was?
Who's that?
The guy who OnlyFans guy?
Oh. Feel free.
Okay.
This is, people get to see it from both perspectives. And this is how you can learn.
So
take what resonates.
Take what resonates, right? This is not for everybody. I'm sure not everyone can relate, but I personally think that we have a gut feeling. You know what I mean? And if something is not aligning with us, if something is not like making us feel like that's what we really want to do,
mm-hmm.
like our intentions don't line up, nothing lines up, we know it.
Yep.
It's usually pretty obvious, unless it's not so obvious, unless there's other feelings bringing you towards it. Maybe those are the feelings that you got to reflect on.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a gut feeling, in your hearts of hearts, you got to know if something is right for you or wrong for you, if it's going to serve you or if it's going to take away from you.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to bring up the example that we were talking about this morning because it's too heavy.
Yeah.
It's too much. You don't got to get to a point of no return for you to be like, I have buyer's remorse. I have regrets.
Yeah.
You don't got to get to that point.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I totally agree. It's pay attention to how the information you're receiving is making you feel. Because remember, if you refer back to my experience, I was saying I was feeling anxious. I was scared. I was crying myself to sleep sometimes. Like, I was confused. You like pay attention to those words: confused, anxious, like hopeless, like, oh my God, it's the end of the world. Oh my God. Like, if I feel like you're being led astray, one, when it seems like you are going so against yourself, when it doesn't make no sense to you and your beliefs and values, and also when you're confused, when you just seem so detached from self and so absorbed and concerned about external people. Like, if you're being led astray when it has nothing to do with the inner.
Yeah, the person that you really are. You know, the person outside of your looks, outside of your superficial, I got this, I got that, I got pretty face and nice body. You know, it's not all about that. It's not. And you get to feel it. Your body keeps count. So,
Yep.
you know when you're getting led astray, either by messages, either by people, either by yourself. Because sometimes, we're all guilty of it. Sometimes we want to suffer. We want to prolong our suffering. Sometimes we are in old patterns of doing things. And for some reason, we want to prolong the suffering. We don't we're transforming, and
It
that's
builds
what
character. Hey.
that's the hard part, is transforming already.
Yeah.
And then we get uncomfortable. We prolong it.
Yeah.
We suffer even further because change is hard. But suffering, impeding, sort of, you could say retarding the process, slowing it down, is gonna be more painful. When you really are meant to be changing. Change is inevitable, either for the worse or for the better.
Exactamente.
You choose.
And it brings us into the next question. How do you know when you're receiving spiritual wisdom versus misinformation?
I think you got to start with this one.
Let's test it. Let's test the audience. Watching this video, how do you guys feel right now?
Yeah, how do you feel? You feel like the audio is popping in your ears? It's feeling good? Do
you feel like, oh shit, this makes sense. I'm resonating. Some of it's resonating. It's making sense. Oh my gosh, I relate. Like, yeah, it feels good. It feels like I'm learning here. How do you feel watching this video? How do you feel watching other videos? Does it feel uppity like that? Does it feel encouraging and inspiring, funny, laughable? Like, does it feel good? Or does it feel like this doesn't make any sense? And then you're finished watching this, and then you're like, I still don't get it. Like, how do you feel?
Yeah, can you do me a favor and rephrase the question? Maybe I can.
How would you know when someone is talking out of a place of love and pushing you to go to self and source? And how do you know, or versus them talking out of their ego and trying to instill fearmonger and
pushing agenda,
something like
that. Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Pushing their beliefs on you.
Interesting. Yeah. It's tough for most people to look inside and really search in their hearts of hearts if they need it or not. You give power to what you focus on. So how do you know if it's the right thing for you? Well, what are you trying to focus on? Right?
That's a good question.
I think just by asking, what are we focusing on in this conversation? Because if we're just focusing on the problems and we're going in circles, but it could have been like this and it should have been like that. We're not focusing on anything productive. We're focusing on rising above, rising above these traps, rising above these delusions that we put ourselves in, that society wants us in, to believe what they believe, to believe what they want us to believe.
Yeah.
And what are they focusing on? Are they focusing more on negative things, or are they focusing more on positive things? It really comes down to, what are you focusing on?
I love that question.
What are you focusing on?
Very reflective.
You give power to what you focus on.
Yep.
You know, you can go to sleep confused, anxious, messed up, because right before you did that, you might have been focusing on the wrong thing. You know, last night, I was focused on the wrong thing, man. I came in the bedroom with intense energy.
Yeah.
I had to simmer down. So, yeah, I mean, it happens to all of us. The first step is being aware of it. So, like, take it easy on yourself. You know, you don't got to be perfect, but be aware at least. Be aware of what you're doing, and be aware of the people around you, what they're doing, and how they make you feel.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Take that question.
That's all I can put in, man. I really tried, man.
No, that was beautiful. I'm all about journaling, guys, and reflection prompts, and I feel like that was a great question. What are you focusing on? Positive or negative? Like, are you focused on doomsday, or are you focusing on how can I make the world a better place?
Either way, guys, you gotta groove to the music outside. You gotta enjoy the moment. We're here for such a short time anyway, so you might as well hunker down and give as much value as you possibly can. Or maybe if it's not your time, listen to this message and keep listening to good messages until you become a force of light.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactamente.
Gotta prepare yourself.
Okay, next question. How can one develop their spiritual discernment and intuition without having to get dealt the hard hand sometimes? So, like, you know, I feel like regardless, we're going to sometimes have to learn from that way, from life's way. But how can one do it in the meantime without always having to get hit with life?
Oh man, it's an interesting perspective, right? Because how do you develop this discernment? Well, some of you want to get hit by a car and want to get all crippled out, you know, just to Joey Dispenza your way back into walking.
Fuck,
and then you learn how to freaking like conquer life. You know, some of you need that hurdle that's all the way up there for you to achieve, you know, for you to pass. I don't need that shit. I don't want that hard hurdle. I have hard hurdles enough. My life is hard. You know, everybody's life comes with difficulties. You don't have to get into an accident. You don't got to get into a terrible relationship, a situationship, or pregnant for you to realize what you really wanted. You know, karma works in interesting ways. There was this motivational speaker, what's his face? He's the guy with the really big chin, and man, he's like a crimson chin, and he's got a deep voice. You'll know who he is. You know who he is.
When we figure it out, we'll probably post a picture of him.
Yeah. So the reason I'm mentioning him is because he was out one day, and there was a homeless man asking for money. He's just like, "How much do you want?" Homeless man asked him for $1, and he pulled out a wad of cash. And he's like flipping through it to find a $1 bill. Gives him the $1 bill. And that's just to say, life gives you what you ask of it. So, I mean, you'll know who this is. You'll know who this is if you're into these motivational speakers and all that. But life gives you exactly what you ask for. You know, if you ask for a hard lesson, it's going to give you a hard lesson. It's going to give you something that is humbling enough but also something that you're ready for enough where you can swallow that pill. Because who knows, you might not even be ready. Some people are dealt hands that there's no reason for it to be fair or justified.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're a type of person that is looking for an extra hard lesson, just humble yourself, man. You don't need to get humbled so hard. Trust me, it's not worth it.
It hurts. It builds character and, it helps with resilience, but some people can't. Some people...
They want the hardest lesson, some people, man.
Mm-hmm.
They want to get pimp slapped out the street to be out the street, man.
Okay, let's not get off topic. But how to build your discernment and intuition. I feel like it's starting with to getting to know yourself, because what are your values? What are your belief system? What do you like? How do you see the world? What do you love doing? What do you not like doing? When you get to know those things, and then you can sit and ground yourself in your beliefs and your truths, then it's not easy for people on the internet or for a stranger or for a friend to lead you astray, because you are so comfortable. You are so grounded in what you know. You won't go drifting. Outwitting the Devil. You guys need to read that book.
Definitely read Outwitting the Devil. And what is it to develop? What is it to develop discernment? You got to get to know yourself, just like you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you get to know yourself? Well, you got to pour into yourself.
Yep.
Because if you don't, just like how I said in the beginning, we are all products of our environment. And that means just random things, mostly your parents, up until the ripe old age of, I don't know, freaking 10,
Mm-hmm.
12, who knows. Then you started getting outside influences. And a lot of the things that you experience and that you are or you think you are
Mm-hmm.
are things that your environment has been given to you.
Yep.
And not things that you've been given to yourself. You haven't been pouring into yourself to know yourself, to know that there's other options.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's facts.
One of the reasons that people choose the wrong path is because there's no other option. They don't have any other path to choose from. They just have the bad choice,
Deep.
But if you have a choice, then think about it. Think about if it's worth it, if your life is worth it. Start reading up. Start experiencing. Then you're going to learn. You're going to experience. You're going to have these tests in life.
Mm-hmm.
But you were studying up before, so you're not going to get surprised by this, test, the surprise test,
Mm-hmm.
pop quiz.
And speaking of tests, okay, low vibration. What is low vibration, and how does that tie into misinformation?
So low vibration and misinformation. That's a really good question. So do you want to start this off? I've been talking quite a lot.
No problem. Low vibration. So I feel like I'm such a teacher. But if you guys were listening earlier, when I was sharing my experience, you guys would hear that I said fear, hopelessness, being led astray, confused, all that stuff. To me, this is all from my opinion and perspective. I believe low vibration and being low vibrational is anything that is stopping you from moving forward. Anything that's holding you back, anything that's keeping you stuck, I believe is low vibration, whether it's a emotion, a feeling, a people, place, or thing. Anything low vibrational is anything that's keeping you stagnant. So how I feel that explaining what it is, how I feel that ties to misinformation is, again, like sharing, when I was sharing my experience, I was saying the spiritual teacher, when like that she's going through something and she's in that low vibration, like she's, you know, beefing with another person, in drama with another person, or going through like a relationship hardship. It's so easy to project that energy into what you're saying to someone. Like when you, and it goes to what Edgardo's saying, like if you're not pouring into yourself, which that would be another topic, pouring into yourself. But if you're not pouring into yourself, if you are in this low vibration, what energy are you spreading to other people? It starts with asking yourself that before you, it's not even just like knowing how to know when someone online is in a low vibration. It's practicing when you're in a low vibration and paying attention to when you're in that low energy. What are you saying to people? What energy are you giving to people? And that's how I feel it can tie into misinformation, because how can you really pour into others, into things, when you're in that stagnant energy? You're in that low, stuck, sad energy.
Yeah, definitely. I think the only way that I can add to that is sometimes, you know, like everybody, I do some scrolling on social media. I see news without even wanting to look at news. I see news, you know, I see what's happening in other countries. I see what's happening. Like the whole world is a crap hole right now, pretty much. Right? And it's okay for videos, at least for me, to see a video. It starts off with the problem and then it goes into, this is the way to get out of that. This is a solution. This is something good. But when it's a video about, let's say, pop stars and how they're all Satan worshippers, you know, like how is that anything positive? You know what to do. You don't got to watch the video. Just don't listen to all these pop stars. Just don't listen to all these popular artists, these rappers and whoever else just speaking straight bogus, you know, like low vibrational things into your life. You know what to do. You know, you just got to snap out of it.
Agreed. And how do you snap out of it? Goes back to episode 1, doing that inner work, knowing when to catch yourself in these moments and get them, and giving yourself grace, accepting that, shoot, I'm being led astray. Shoot, I'm like following these other people's beliefs. It's okay though. Let's get back into doing the inner work. And before we wrap it up, Edgardo, do you have any additional questions or anything to say, like?
Yes.
About this topic?
Ladies, don't fall into the delusion of today's world. You will waste your time. You will waste beautiful years of your life. Just go for what you want and do it right. And guys, you guys need to step it up, man.
Yeah.
You guys need to step it up. Let go of all the things that are dragging you, that are making you slow down. Let go of all that stuff. You're going to get exactly what you need in life. But let go of what's slowing you down. Don't get tricked. There's more tricks out for these men, man. Like, it's pretty straightforward. Don't get tricked.
Do not get tricked. Or some crazy ass Lilith. Okay. Crazy ass. But you know, it's funny.
That's for other podcasts, other episodes, all right?
Yes. The song that was going through my head when you were saying your last words was, girls, you know you better
watch out. Some guys are only about.
And same thing, guys, you know you better watch out, because some girls are only.
Yeah, there's a lot of delusional things around relationships. You need discernment. You know, don't be wasting this poor man's time, because you're really wasting your own time.
All right, let's wrap it up here. Thank you guys. If you made it all the way to the end, thank you for watching Take What Resonates. Thank you for being a part of this discussion. Again, if you guys love what you see here, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. If you have any topics that you want us to discuss on mine, leave a comment.
Yes, and we wish you the best. We wish you all this abundance and discernment out of all.
So peace
And love.